What is up, YouTube? KM888 here, and I'm back again with another deck profile of my worm deck. I know I've done these quite a few times already, but I'll try and keep you guys updated to how I run my build, so yeah, that's why. Also with European Championship being over and Banlist being out, I wanted to do this list before things like Northern come out. Of course, when Northern does come out, I have to check out the format a little bit before changing my deck up. I do have some ideas already, so yeah, I'll try to keep you posted of those as well. Now for the deck profile, let's just jump into it, I guess. First of all, 3 Worms X, staple in a worm deck. You need to run it, Foolish Burial for any worm. It's really awesome, and it works great with Worm Jagen, since if you send this to the graveyard, you can special summon it immediately if Zex is the only monster in your field, so that's instant +1. You only play double Jagen because you don't want to draw it too much. It becomes cloggy in the hand, and with things like Necros of Trishula roaming around, you don't want that. For the Searcher of the deck, double Worm card rows. Same thing as with Jagen, I don't want to clog it into my hand, and late game it's really awful. So I only play 2. And it's been working out. These are all the worms I'm actually running. I cut the Worm King eventually because Jinluck's now gone, so I don't have to tribute summon it anymore. And I don't want it to be clogging my hand for Necro of Trishula, so that's already 2 reasons for one deck. And against other decks, it doesn't have the greatest matchup either, so I decided to cut the Worm King. It solves some inconsistency issues, so I'm really glad about that. Next to the worms, I'm running some other monsters, of course. Upmost, the Thunder King Ryo. It is one of the best cards in the game at the moment, so I think you have to run it. If it were a 2 or a 3, of course I'd play it at 2 or 3, so yeah. Sadly it's at 1, so yeah. I'm playing triple Fire Hand and double Ice Hand. I like these numbers, 3 and 2, because I want to see the Fire Hand a lot more than the Ice Hand in my opening hand. And not so many decks anymore do run backrow I want to destroy, like against Necros or Shaddoll, the Ice Hands are pretty bad. And also against things like Yosenju, Ritual Beast, because those decks can run Macrocosmos, so the Ice Hands are actually a little bit worse than the Fire Hands, so yeah. Next to the hands, playing double Mermelio. Because this card is a +1 on its own. Just normal summon it, you have a monster, and you get a trap off of it, so it's really cool in this deck. I'm sure you need to run the Trap Hole trap cards, but I don't really mind because those are actually really good, I think, so yeah. For any slower deck, I do suggest playing the Mermelios, because Mermelios are really awesome, really great. I do think 2 is enough because 3 would clog. It's just for consistency issues. And then the last 2 monsters of the deck, double effect Veiler. Veiler is really awesome to negate effects, so it's really good against things like Necros or Stellanites. The main reason I'm actually maining it right now is because Trishula is off the ban list. I can just use Call of the Haunted, get this card back, or normal summon it if I don't have to use it, and make a Trishula if I want. So that's really awesome about the effect Veiler at the moment. So yeah, that's it for the monsters. I'm playing 17 monsters in the main deck. Now for spell cards, I don't run that many spells. I'm only running 1 Raigeki, 1 Book of Moon, and double Pot of Duality. Raigeki is just mass destruction. It should be obvious. You have to get rid of some things eventually. The Book of Moon is one of the most skillful cards you're actually going to play. It's so handy in a deck, attack-wise, defensive-wise, or even just to put down those monsters with flip effects again. So yeah, it's really great. That's it for the spells already, 4. The Pot of Dualities actually solve some inconsistency issues, but I think I'm gonna cut them as soon as Northern is released. Instant Fusion is just too good at that point. For trap cards, with 70 monsters and 4 spells, I'm actually playing 19 trap cards, so it's the majority of the deck. First of all, triple W Nebula Meteorite. W Nebula Meteorite is just an awesome card. It often acts as a pot of greed for me, and even does more stuff, so yeah, it's so broken in this deck, if you get a worm. Triple Fiendish Chain. Fiendish Chain is really needed this format. You need to stop effects, and if you don't need to stop the effects, you more than often have to stop an attack. So yeah, Fiendish Chain is just too awesome. Double Mirror Force, because you need to stop attacks. I often find myself in a case where I have the card rows and a meteorite, but I can't flip up the meteorite because I'm too scared that they'll destroy my card rows, so Mirror Force actually solves things like that. Also with the hands, my opponent often thinks that I'll let them attack into my hand, but I don't want that all the time, so Mirror Force is actually really good. Also to kill things like Dweller at those times. So yeah. And then next to the two Mirror Forces, because I didn't want to run a third Mirror Force just because of things like Winda or opponent's hands that are an option. I wanted to play one-dimensional Prison instead. Deep Prison is such a good card and it's often forgotten this metagame, so playing it at 1 is really nice. Then for the Trap Hole cards, because of the Myrmilios, I'm playing double Time Space Trap Hole. This card is so golden. I mean, it's great against Necros, it's great against Clies, it's good against Burning Abyss. Satella kinda gets shreked by this card. Trevor hates this. So yeah, really this card is really amazing in the format. It's gonna get even better with future archetypes being released. I might have to bump this up to 3 then, so yeah. One Bottomless Trap Hole. It's still an awesome card. It doesn't work against all the meta decks. Not everything is hit by this, but in general the card itself is really good, and it's still really skillful to play actually, so I ran it at 1. And then the last Trap Hole card, Void Trap Hole. I wanted some more monster negation effects. The 2 Veilers and the 3 Fiendish Chain didn't seem to cut it, so I wanted to add something that I could add from the deck, and I had the choice between Void Trap Hole and Traptrix Nightmare Trap Hole, but I opted for this because this also hit things that don't immediately activate, like Giant Hand or an opponent's Unicorn, stuff like that. So I really like the Void Trap Hole in that regard. I might test out a Traptrix Nightmare Trap Hole because it also hits things like an Exiton. But at that point I'm probably gonna run 5 Trap Hole cards, so yeah. I need to watch out for that, not having too many options for the Myrmilios. Then I'm playing double Call of the Haunted. I really like Call of the Haunted in this deck because it brings back any and every card that I need. Like the 2 Veilers are convenient because I can make Trishula with them. If I want to use it on a hand, they have to get over the hand loop again. With Thunder King, it's just awesome. Like, oh, you just got rid of my Thunder King, and now you're trying to search Call of the Hounded on Thunder King, and they can't do anything anymore. And on Myrmelio, of course, it's an additional spell and trap card removal. For the Worms itself, it might not seem that great, but if you bring back a Zex with this card, you can special summon Jagen in your own turn afterwards. So you have 2 monsters for the price of 1, so it's really good actually. Next to the calls, I'm running 4 standalone cards, which are really great in my deck, I think, so yeah. First of all, the Solemn Warning. Paying 2,000 life points to negate a Denko Sekka summon is awesome. I mean, Denko is just such a bullshit card that I had to run Solemn Warning, so yeah. Torrential Tribute, blowout card, it wrecks Clies, Necros, actually everything, I think, so yeah. Ring of Destruction, I still like it, though the fact that you can only activate it when your opponent's life points are higher than the monster's attack is actually kinda bad, because I often had it where I brought them under the certain amount and I couldn't activate this card anymore. Also, the other way around, when my life points were too low, like with Warning, the double time space, that actually gets really huge in life point costs. Sometimes against Cly I have to use time space for 2 or 3 monsters, so that's often that I already have to pay 5,000 to 7,000 life points just for those 3 cards, and then the Ring of Destruction becomes really dead, so I kind of have to watch out for that. But all in all, Ring of Destruction is a really good disruption card, I think, so I'm still playing it. And then the last card of the deck, Jar of Avarice. I really like putting stuff back into the deck. I was running Dichotomy before this, and it would still be a really good choice. But I like it more to send back the trap cards to my deck. Like, if I still have Berbelius in my deck and I drew them, but I don't have trap hole cards anymore, the Jar of Avarice actually fixes that, so it's really good. This card is also really good in the case that you can just set it, and a couple of turns later, when they try to use a Dragon Effect or MST on it, you just chain it and you get a plus of it. So it might seem bad, like top decking into it, but most of the time it isn't going to happen. So yeah, that was it for the trap lineup. As I said, 19 trap cards. Seems a lot, but it's actually... sometimes it's even too little, so yeah. Extra deck now. First of all, King of the Feral Imps. Just searching them worms. It's really great if you have Meteorite, but you don't have a worm, so yeah. Just setting up that play. Tsukiyomi, to get some more draws. Tsukiyomi is beast mode. It's really good. Stella knows it as well, so... Constellar Omega, because I do run lights, and the Omega is really good against rogue matchups. Might cut it when Nolan comes out, because I need 2 spots in my extra deck for that, so yeah. Castel, Skyblast, and Musketeer, just generic Exceed, I don't have to say a lot about it. Same with 101, Silent Honor Arc, Gaia Cowboy for game, Giant Hand, because I still don't have enough effect negations. 2 Veilers, Void Trap Hole, Triple Fiendish, and Giant Hand. I suppose that's enough, so yeah. Abyss Dweller, in general, for Burning Abyss, but it also works against a lot of other decks, so it's really good. Daigusto Emerald, I already mentioned that I really like to recycle, so Emerald is a valuable option in my extra deck, so yeah. Rhapsody and Berserk, number 80. It's the only card in my deck which makes me get over a towers at the moment, so in the main deck, so I can't lose this card at the moment. Honest would be an option, but I play too many lights at the moment, so I had to run this. Also, it's really good to just remove some things in the graveyard, so it's one of the best cards actually. Evil Swarm Excite Knight, really blowout card, kinda need it. Steel Swarm Roach. At the moment, I do put this in my extra deck for Infernoids, Ritual Beasts, and some other stuff. But in general, it's still a really good card. And at the moment, I don't go into it often, but when I go in against those decks, Roach is a really good card. The mandatory Tellarknight Ptolemaeus with Satellarknight, Constellar Diamond. I have to run these two just because of Burning Abyss and Shadol, so yeah. And then the last card in my extra deck, I've already mentioned it a couple of times. Trishula, Dragon of the Ice Barrier. I really like to use this against Necros. Oh, you trish me, I'll trish you back. So something like that. But yeah, that's it for the extra deck. I'm gonna show you guys my side deck, though it is my own preference, of course. You can change it up whatever you want. If you're going to net deck this, which I don't mind at all. But keep in mind that the side deck is my own preference, and it's just what I think is best for the deck at the moment, so yeah. First of all, because Turbo Towers is such a pain in the ass, I'm actually running a couple of cards just for towers, so yeah, I think you can get the gist. First of all, triple Cyber Dragon Dre. I chose to run this over Cyber Dragon because it's a level 4. The fact that it has 1800 attack is really awesome because it still gets over Denko Sekka. If it had 1700, I was going to run the normal Cyber Dragon. But in general, being a level 4 is a lot better than having 2100 attack. I had it a couple of times where I had to side this in against Cly, and I won because I could make an exceed of this card, so it's pretty nice at that point. Of course, to go together with the Cyber Dragon Dre, I have to run Chimera Tech Fortress Dragon. I opted to run 2 because the Turbo Tower deck only runs 2 towers, so you need 1 Chimera Tech for each tower. So yeah, because of that. Also, the fact I'm main decking Call of the Haunted really helps out the Cyber Dragon Dray, because if I draw Call of the Haunted, I can actually bring back a Dray from the graveyard and just contact again, so it's pretty awesome. That's already it for the monsters. Running double MST in my side deck for Clifford. Basically, I don't want to hit the Scouts or the Monoliths with this. I most of the time want to hit the Decrees that they side in against me, so that's why I decided to side double MST. I had Galaxy Cyclone in here for a while, Spell Shattering Arrows, stuff like that, but I noticed that most people tend to side Royal Decree at the moment against me, so I went for double MST instead, and it's actually working out again, so yeah, it's really good. Double Blackhorn of Heaven, again against Clyce at the first point. This just ruins their entire day, because everything is sent to the graveyard at that point, and they can't chain anything to it because it's counter trap. It's also really great against the Telas, even against Burning Abyss, I think, because if they summon a Dante and you Blackhorn it, it goes to the graveyard, but it can't use Sir to get it back. So they have to recycle their Dantes by using other Dantes, so the Blackhorns are actually really good. Double Grave of the Super Ancient Organism, MVP of my side deck. If I could, I'd play it as a 3, but I have too many spots with the Cyber Dragons at the moment. Grave of the Super Ancient Organism might seem a weird card, but it stops so many decks. It stops Necros, it stops Heroes, Mermail, and really a lot of other decks as well. So yeah, the Grave Super Ancient Organism is a card you should consider if you don't get wrecked by it yourself. So yeah. Double Imperial Iron Wall, just to stop banishing Ritual Beast, Infernoid, Necros even, so yeah, stuff like that. And then the last two cards in my side deck being double Shadow Imprisoning Mirror, just for Burning Abyss and Shaddoll. So yeah, I think it's a solid side deck at the moment for me, so I'm definitely using this. If you have any thoughts about the deck, don't be afraid to share them. I mean, I really like to read some comments, and I'll do it like this. This is the base of my deck. And I really like to read those comments, and I reply to them as well. If you like the video, put those thumbs up. It makes the video getting noticed, and for other people to also see it. And if you really liked it, you might have to check out some of my other videos. I mean, they're all on my channel, and the subscribe button isn't that far away, so yeah. Anyways, this was my worm deck. I hope you liked it. If you have anything to say about it, just go ahead, and then I guess I see you in the future. See you guys!